Jim, apparently also going into the WWE Hall of Fame this year will be the natural disasters, earthquake and typhoon. Although the picture here has him as tugboat. But I guess continuing.
Well, wait a minute. Yeah. Well, no, you know what? He's the only wrestler that ever shipwrecked himself. The tugboat was caught in a typhoon and grounded on a sandbar.
And then he became a shockmaster. But earthquake and typhoon, the natural disasters, WWF Tag Team Champions. Any thoughts on earthquake and typhoon?
Well, they weren't exactly the Briscoe brothers as technical wizards as a team, but they had the size and they had the gimmicks. And I think we talked about, and when we mentioned the Dark Side of the Ring episode last year, John Tenta was a nice fellow, and poor old Uncle Fred is a nice fellow himself. So, again, with the other inductees and the precedent set, I have no problem with that. They were in a classic era of WWF programming.
Not to say one thing has anything to do with the other, but now we have The Undertaker's wife. We have Triple H, who's obviously in the family, and now Cody's uncle going into the Hall of Fame this year. What other families available?
That's Fred Ottman, ladies and gentlemen, Typhoon, Tugboat, Shockmaster. And he was Big Bubba at one time in San Antonio, but not that Big Bubba.
In Memphis.
He is the uncle of Cody because he married Dusty's sister. That's correct, right? That's the chain of events.
That's correct, but I've always been confused. So he married Dusty's sister, who I guess she was in Florida or wherever. I don't know where that would have happened. But also, isn't Jerry Saggs also Dusty's brother-in-law?
Well, did Dusty have two sisters? That would explain it without any kind of Mormonism or anything going on.
Let me look it up and see if it says anything about Jerry Saggs' personal life. Jerry and his wife Laura have 4 children. Saggs' sister-in-law, Michelle, was married to the late pro wrestler Dusty Rhodes. Oh, so maybe this is Dusty's wife's sister. Interesting. What an interesting thing.
Okay, so now now you lost me around the far turn. So Dusty's wife, Michelle, her sister married Saggs, is what you're saying?
Saggs' sister-in-law, Michelle.
Saggs' sister.
It's a weird sentence. Saggs' sister-in-law, Michelle, was married to the late pro wrestler Dusty Rhodes.
Yes, so if Saggs married Michelle's sister, then that would make... And that's the thing about your mother and my mother were both mothers. So there you go. So, well, it's all in the family. By the way, Glenn Miller played songs that made the hit parade.
Oh, the way, not
guys like it. It's all in the family, baby.
All right. Well, you certainly have gone to the Eve the Bunker School of Singing. I think all the listeners would agree with that. And
well, there's things that that you got to do. You got to entertain yourself, Brian. You got to keep a jaunty tune in your head as you go about the world these days. I just talked earlier about how all the news is bad and negative and everything. You got to be upbeat. That's probably what Travis Scott was doing. While Travis Scott was in the ring, while Cody and Cena and The Rock were interacting, he was probably listening to one of his alleged recordings on his Raycon Everyday Wireless earbuds. And he had the active noise cancellation on, so he couldn't hear all those thousands and thousands of people screaming and yelling and catcalling. And he also apparently couldn't hear what anybody was telling him to fucking do because he just stood there and then he took a fucking cheap shot at an unarmed man while he was down and blind.
Now Cody can't hear.
And now Cody can't hear. Cody will only need one earbud. Cody will soon be advertising the Raycon Everyday Earbud because he's going to be a poor, one-eared son of a bitch. But folks, if you've still got 2 ears, you need 2 Raycon earbuds. At least 2. If I were you, once again, I'd figure out a way to make it quadraphonic by inserting a pair of these things in another orifice, but it seems like it would work. But the latest Raycon model, folks, is better than ever with a 32-hour battery life and multi-point connectivity that lets you kinky folks pair up with 2 devices at once after answering a blind classified ad to a post office box. And speaking of battery, with Raycon's quick charge function, just 10 minutes of charging. Just plug this bad boy in for the mere 10 minutes, and it's going to run you for 90 minutes. And you can listen to 2 whole albums on that, or 1 double album. But no triple albums, and watch out for, well, the 45s just throw you into too much mathematics. And Raycon started just half the price of the other premium audio brands with similar features because they want your business. And they want you not only to wear the Raycon everyday earbuds, but Brian, they want you to send them out to your friends, to your family, to your work acquaintances. Get them hooked too. Because once they put these bad boys in their ears and they receive the electronic stimulation sent down from satellites orbiting the Earth, they're not going to be able to take them out. It's going to be like a Pavlovian response. They're going to need their buds, baby. That's how Raycon stays in business. It's a very addictive curare derivative from the jungles of Bolivia that is carefully coated around the earbuds, and it will give you play. Your pleasure zones will be off the charts.
What are you talking
Right now,
about?
folks, you can have oral orgasms. See, A-U-R-A-L.
Eargasms.
Eargasms. Oral eargasms. Go to buyraycon.com/JCE and you're going to get 20% off of the best-selling everyday earbuds. 20% off, and you can listen to the music. You can listen to the talk. You can listen to the quiet. You can just stick these things in and turn them off and turn the noise cancellation on, and instantly you'll be in a complete sound vacuum. It cancels everything. Whether it's at the gym or at work or in bed when you're listening to something a little bit naughty, the Raycon everyday earbuds are going to be your friends every day. Some of you, it'll be the only friends you have. But at least when they talk back to you, you won't mind. buyraycon.com/JCE, 20% off, Brian.
Sounds like a great deal. We love Raycon. You will too. Raycon.com/JCE.
And now the people that bring the Raycons, are they naked like the wine people?
There are no naked couriers that we can talk about because we're not aware of any, and they have nothing to do with our wonderful sponsors and the wonderful people behind those sponsors. Raycon, once again.
So apparently, whether the delivery people get naked or not is up to the individual courier and how much you're willing to tip. buyraycon.com/JCE, 20% off.
That's right. That part is right.
Yes.